Good morning, Hiromu-kun. Good morning, Nanaka. It's another beautiful day. This weather makes Hiromu want to skip class, making Nanaka wonder why he is here with a cheerful expression. Then both their hands touch. They both turn red with a flustered look. Hiromu apologized and Nanaka also apologized. Nanaka is happy, asking how rough he had it in middle school. He doesn't want to talk about his experiences. Just by walking with Hiromu, it makes her happy that she can go to school walking with him, acting shy. Hiromu was going to make a comment until someone interrupted them, asking why they were flirting in the morning. With an embarrassed look, they said, "It's not like that." The girl then hits Hiromu in the back, laughing, leading to her touching his back. The Yandere appeared within Nanaka's soul, staring at them with daggers in her eyes. This won't end well with the other girl. Later in the day, he was playing soccer with the boys. A couple of girls were staring inside the school building, talking about him. The girl from earlier wants to confess to him, but another girl said he has Nanaka Tachibana. They start to gossip about Nanaka behind her back. Then Nanaka enters the room saying, "I wasn't trying to be his girlfriend or anything, sorry for offending you." The girls stare at her to see whether she is lying or not. She says Hiromu doesn't belong to them and she'll help her confess. Once she leaves, the other girls wonder why she was so nice and that something was up. We see Nanaka behind a door with a creepy smile, looking like some Blue Lock character with those in the zone eyes. We cut to Nanaka's apartment, where she is sitting down with her triple monitor set up in front of her. She then mumbles Class 2C Sakagami Mika, wondering how she would sound crying. The next day after school, Mika says goodbye to her friends. Someone says a greeting towards her, making her turn around. The girl was Nanaka, holding a lighter, and something that would explode coming in contact with heat, shocking Mika. An explosion goes off, barely touching Mika. Nanaka kept lighting up the explosion and throwing it. Mika wanted her to stop. Mika said she would die, but Nanaka was saying 100,000 or 200,000 at a pet store. The price of a cat, asking if she was worth 200,000 if she died. Mika was in disbelief, shooting another one in between her legs. Nanaka talks about how Hiromu was a delinquent and they worked hard to improve. Nanaka says it's all since she gave him undying love until he opened his heart. She then rambles on and on, exclaiming, "Then Hiromu deserves her and only her," comparing themselves to Adam and Eve as a couple. Asking for Mika to admit she is a good pair for Hiromu. Mika is shocked, not knowing how to feel, asking if she is insane. Nanaka looks sane, saying she's not crazy. She pulled a chip from her bag, saying, "Look at this proof you're a shoplifter." Mika's eyes widened. She then exclaims how she is a king and Mika is a peasant, telling her to never go against her.
The next day after school, Hiromu says bye to one of his mates. Nanaka out of nowhere greets him, saying what a coincidence that he is going home. He talks about how school is boring. Nanaka says this is Yankee Hiromu again. This makes him turn red, embarrassed, saying no, it isn't. After they walked besides each other, looking to different places, flustered, Nanaka breaks the silence, saying his name, making Hiromu straighten his posture with embarrassment. She talks about how Hiromu saved her, and Hiromu said he was the one saved. She talks about when he told her a saying, looking embarrassed and happy. She turns around saying, "Sometimes I can't see straight," when it comes to Hiromu-kun, saying she'll do anything for his sake, closely to him. They're close to each other's face. They lean in for a kiss, getting closer and closer, but gets interrupted by someone, "I found you, Hiromu." A girl throws herself onto Hiromu, making Nanaka back off in shock, and Hiromu almost falls. This girl had long black hair and was smiling like she won the lottery. Nanaka looks at them both with despair. This mysterious girl took a kiss while Nanaka was watching. She says, "Hey you, what are you looking at? What are you doing walking with him? I'm going to kill you!" Hiromu was dizzy, trying to comprehend what happened, while this makes Nanaka stare at her with killing intent. Hiromu snaps back to reality, asking what happened. The mysterious girl asked if it's been a long time since I saw you, and she was just excited, making him wonder who she is. She then creates a face with intent that isn't great, while Nanaka creates a devilish smile, trying to hold back laughing. But the girl starts to tear up and says, "So mean." Hiromu is lost for words on the emotions. We go to the next day, where the girl is hugging Hiromu's arm. Hiromu was red-faced and sweating, while Nanaka was staring daggers at the other girl. He wonders why she is hugging him. The girl says she is sorry, and that they went to the same elementary school. A flashbang exploded in his brain telling him who it was. It was Alice Kitagawa, the same person who transferred to another school during middle school, he thought. She asks if he remembers the promise they made, and he says, "Let's get married." Alice was jumping with joy that he remembered. Nanaka ran away and Hiromu looked behind with terror, saying it's not like that. We get a flashback to grade school where Hiromu was asking Alice if she had anything to do since she was alone. Alice talks about her family and how they were busy. He invites her to play. Later, they're on the swings, and she says she is moving and her mom and dad are living separately now. She asks if they meet again in the future, will she marry her? Hiromu turned red and said, yeah, this is how Hiromu's gangster arc began because Alice had to move because of selfish adults and decides to rebel. At school, Alice transferred and she introduced herself. On the school rooftop, Mika says, "Your Highness, you called?" Nanaka asks if she found anything she could use against her while Mika sends data to her. Sometime later, Nanaka asks Kitagawa if she had time to chat. She says, "You're the girl with Hiromu," and says don't flirt with him. Nanaka says they're just friends, making Alice open herself up more. She then goes to Nanaka and says she gets worked up if they talk about him. Nanaka acts friendly for a bit, then says, "You know, Kitagawa, there are rumors that your mother is a pachinko fanatic and is in major debt, right?" While having her eyes closed, looking creepy while talking about her father. Alice looked shocked, with her eyes looking like she saw something horrid. Nanaka tried to use this against her, but Alice says everyone knows about it and she won't hide it since it's not her fault. Nanaka was disappointed, but tried to hide it and said, "That's a relief," with a faki smile and cheer. She then tries to act tough, saying, "I won't let anyone bully. You tell me if they do." Alice then hugs Nanaka, saying, "You're a good person after all." Well, Nanaka was hugging, her eyes were blank and her creepy look. At midnight, Nanaka and Mika meet and Mika tries to say something, but Nanaka says it wasn't usable information while holding an envelope. Mika asks what is with the envelope and Nanaka says it's your shoplifting data addressed to the school, while slowly putting it in a postal box. Mika was sweating buckets, trembling with fear while she did it slowly, saying yes when Nanaka said work harder. We flash back to Nanaka's childhood, where her parents are telling her the world is full of idiots and she should study hard to get a college degree. She would agree with their statement, but deep down, she thought they were idiots. Nanaka overheard two girls saying, "Hiromu is weird," saying how he is a Yankee not knowing how he grew up. Nanaka attempts to defend him, but the two girls say she is too nice. Once they were out of ear reach, she says they won't have a good life either, not knowing Hiromu is behind her. This shocks her when she senses him. He tells her it is tough being an honor student because you have to hide your true feelings. This opens a new world to her, thinking she could speak her mind with this person. That's why she is bothering her. We return to the present where Alice is hugging his arm. He wants space, but Alice says they're getting married, and he tries to make excuses. Nakana greets him before running past them. Alice thinks she is nice, also saying she met her yesterday. Hiromu says, "Can you give me more space?" distancing him a bit. Alice gives him a bit of a creepy stare in disbelief while Hiromu runs to school. He was tired by the time he saw Nakana, saying he's sorry that Alice did that, and he was confused as well. Hiromu is lost for words and attempts to make some sort of apology while looking ashamed. Nakana answers, saying he is responsible and he gets to choose who he marries. We got to see her face, which was overflowing with tears. He apologies while getting close to each other, while she has a desire for revenge on her face, wanting to get her. She will do anything for our boy, pretending to be something she is not, in order to live without pretending. Her villain arc has begun.
The beginning of Chapter 4. We see Alice amazed by looking at a building which makes her feel back at home. 1 week ago, she asked him to go to the city plaza with her because it's been a while since she explored. She then hugs his arm, saying, "Is this a date?" making him feel sheepish. Nanaka intervenes and says she'll come to help with the tour. We skip to the tour where we see a Shinto. Alice asks Hiromu if he remembers them racing up the long stairs. Alice gets a bit angry because she would cry whenever she lost, but this makes Nanaka smile a bit.
They head to a candy shop, and Alice had eyes of desire not knowing this store still existed. Nakana was shocked that choo-choo juice still existed. Hiromu then laughs, saying, "Choo-choo." Hiromu teased Nakana until she got flustered. Alice was staring at a product and said, Do you remember the popsicle stick? She talks about how her parents didn't care for her, so whenever she wanted kids in her class to leave her alone, she would tell them lies. Little Alice told other girls she won an ice cream. The girls said Alice is lying and people who lie are bad people. They asked to see whether she won or not. Hiromu comes out of nowhere and says, "You won. Give it to me," while snatching it. This shocks the girls, but Hiromu's expression did not change, and Alice was shocked a bit. He then asks the auntie for an ice cream. The girls talk about how Hiromu is frightening, and they're on Alice's side. We flash back to Alice looking at the product saying he was defending her. He says he doesn't remember that, but Alice said he was always there for her. She then says, "That's why I—" "Ahem?" Nakana interrupted. Alice didn't know what to do in the situation, so she left to go to the bathroom. Hiromu wanted to tell Nakana something, but she said she was lonely. She says Alice and herself have lots in common. That is why she wants to make memories with our boy whole nagging his shirt. Alice appears saying sorry to keep you waiting. This makes his face turn red and tremble a bit. "What are you talking about?" she asked. Nakana said she won't lose with a smile towards her. Alice smiles.